hosting the class today. Bruno's not here today, so okay, seems like we're on, it's working. Okay. Everybody ready? Begin. Thank you for your time. And then gratitude for the art and the practice. Start with the right foot forward. Hands here. Now, before we move at all, I'm going to think about the idea of the center is here. There's a straight line through the body, in the middle of the body, to the top of the back of the head. And I'm being aware of the movement generated from here, moving this part. So when I go forward, it's like a wave. The wave moves from the base and then the top follows. And then the base moves back and then the top follows. There's a little push and pull, very, very, very subtle. Forward and back with the right foot forward. And so what that does is if you're aware, if you can feel that push and pull through the body, you can let your shoulders kind of come back and then forward and accentuate that concept of the wave coming back and forward. Not that exaggerated, but that idea. Breathe in and breathe out. Now, if you think of like train tracks on flat ground, everything is moving without rising and falling, but there is that push and pull within that. We're going to transfer this movement into the elbows by bringing the hands up. So as we come back, now the elbows pull back, and as we go forward, the elbows push forward. We're not aware of our forearms, not thinking about our hands, just the elbows. And the elbows are close to the body the whole time. There's no going away from the ribs. It's just right by the side. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Whoa, somebody's camera fell down. Hope it's okay. Okay, now, as you go forward, we're going to think of the extension coming forward with the palms up. And then as we come back, we're going to roll the palms up and around. Sorry, I said that wrong. Let me say that again. When we come forward, we're going to push the palms forward. And then when we come back, the palms are going to come up. And then around and forward again. Back and forward. Now, the elbows and the rest of the body have not changed. All that's happened is you've added the rotation of the forearms to the movement. So if you can, allow yourself to continue to be aware of this, moving the top of your head, the shoulders, and then the elbows, and then the hands. That's the chain of command, you might say. Breathe in as you come back, breathe out as you go forward. When you breathe in, fill the stomach like a balloon, and then the lungs when your hands are here. So you fill the entire torso, and then push out from here. Now, come back and make two fists. And as you go forward, you're punching, and you're going to push forward and clench your fists and focus your mind, triangulate your focus ahead of you about 3 feet, and then come back. So focus on a spot about 3 feet in front of you, and squeeze your hands and squeeze your stomach at the same time. Two more together. Breathe in. Breathe into your stomach. Breathe out. Squeeze your stomach muscles. Squeeze your hands. Focus on a spot in front of you. And then feet together. Breathe. Breathe out. Push down the back of the legs. Stretch. Around the feet up. And open and push back. So That's right at the heart of all of the moves. You want to contract your muscles in an organized way to a certain point, whether it's there or there. It's an idea of focus. So put your left foot forward. I will do the same thing on the other side with a variation. But the first thing is to always come back to the basis, which is the hips go forward and back. And that has the effect of moving the rest of the body from there up. So here's the root through the legs into the ground. And it's like if you took a tree and somehow you could take that tree and move it back and forth, the branches would kind of go like this, right? Well, that's sort of the idea. You just don't want to go too far with it. So shoulders are coming back and forward. Shoulders are like those branches, top. We'll go a little faster through all the main steps because we already covered them. From the shoulders, which is a second point, because the base is the hips, shoulders are the second point, then the elbows. So the hands are not part of the equation yet, it's just the elbows flowing back and forth. And the connection from the elbow to the shoulder, to the base of the hips, to the legs. And then finally, the complete motion is to come forward and extend out to the palms. Palms here, and then come back, palms up. Take your time, breathe in to your feet, breathe into your stomach, breathe out from your feet, from your stomach. Make sure that your weight's going all the way forward to your front foot and then going all the way back to your back. Make sure the transition between the weight is clear. And now, final variation, is we're going to do something you would never, ever, ever do in martial arts. This is Kikong, so it's not martial arts. Is you're going to grab your thumb with your fingers and come back and forward. Back and forward. Now it's very important. You see how my hands are coming all the way back like this to the side of my ribs? All the way back and then all the way forward. So it's 3 different ways to do the same thing. Normal fist, this kind of bizarre fist, and then open hand. And then forward. Breathe in. And out. And out. Up. And out. And shake it off. All right, let's just warm up the hips a little bit more and have a stretch. So, sort of a light horse riding stance, hands up to here. All right, left knee to left elbow, and then right knee to right elbow. 2, 3. And each time I'm holding my balance for a moment. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, so we got the balance, bring the left knee up. And now kick out to the side and back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down, other knee up. Kick out to the side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down, other knee up again. Now rotate your ankle out and in And your knee, an outward circle, in, and then right from the hip, outward circle, and in, and then down, other knee up, one more time, outward circle, the ankle, inward circle, knee outward, inward, and then the hip, out to the side, around, and then in, and then down. We'll make loose fists and hit the outside of the muscle, not the bone, yeah, muscle. Skip the joint, skip the knee, the outside of the muscle on the calves, and then the inside lighter. Skip the knee, inside a little lighter, and then we glutes. And shake it out. Good. So let's add a stretch. Feet out, sink down, hands down. Side to side. Feet forward, sink down even more, hands to the floor. Push the knees out and relax. Walk your fingertips forward, about an inch off the ground, stretch forward. And then over to the right ankle, pull the head to the right. And then to the left ankle, pull the head to the left. And back to the center, straighten the back. And then turn to your left. Push to the left. Make sure that your left foot is pointing directly to the left. Here, so that you can let your weight, like you're pouring water into the leg. And that's how you bring your weight forward. And then eventually you get this point where your body has an alignment this way, like a diagonal line from the foot to the head here. That's a very important stretch for martial arts or Tai Chi. And then to runner stretch, keep your back straight this time and just sink, keep your weight down. Again, though, you're pouring the water through the front foot into the ground. And put the back knee down, push your weight forward to stretch the underside of the leg. And then put your right foot back on the ground, put the toes to the front, put your left toes in the air, keep your back straight, sink down. Tai Chi stretch. Hands to the floor in the middle. Straighten the back. Turn to the right. And the same process. So the right foot all the way to the right, pushing in. Pouring the water into the foot. Leaning in. Keep the back straight, turn to the right, heel up. Sink into runner stretch. Back knee down. And push your weight forward against the underside of your right leg. And then put your left foot down, shift your weight back to your left, Tai Chi stretch. And hands to the middle, put the feet in. Straighten the back of your legs. Breathe in. Breathe out. and then circle the hips. And the other way. Good. Okay. So hands out. And now, the key to doing this is to try not to let your hands develop too much tension. Try to be really relaxed. So start, whatever you call this, snapping, I guess. And then over your head. One down, one up. One down, one up. Over again. Behind you, above your head. Tension start to feel in your hands and start to be a little bit challenging. And breathe in. And breathe out. 2, 3. And then reach up. Look up. It's very important your eyes are going up. And then bring your weight to the front of your feet. Push your heels up and rise as high as you can. Bring your heels down. Grab your elbow. Pull it in and twist. Other way. Pull and twist. And then down, and then reach up again. One more time, looking up, pushing your mind up through your fingertips to extend your awareness in a sense. So you're like really projecting, so to speak, upwards. Tippy toes. So you're stretching your body and your mind up, 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 up. And then bring your heels down. Grab your elbow and try to pull it behind the back of your head. Other way. And then drop the elbows slowly. Touch the top of the shoulders lightly with the fingertips. Let the hands just fall like leaves falling from a tree. And just lightly roll the shoulders as you feel you want to do. And if you feel, well, hopefully there's blood circulating to your hands, you have that feeling of that happening, that's a very good feeling. That's a very good thing. That's literally an affirmation that you're alive, there's health in your system, it's flowing well. And part of the joy of the practice is to do that. So from here, extend your hand. And out. Make sure your hands extended. So for maximum stretch. So these two are extensions. This one, you pull in. So this one's close to your center. And then if this is extension and this is getting close, this is kind of a halfway point. It's the crane beak. So it's like a halfway between the inner and outer. And then push down. A little shake. And then other hand. Extension. And fingers up. Extension. And then hand into the center and twist. And then halfway out. Crane beak and push. And give it a shake. Eyes on your hips. Turn your head to the left and hold your stretch. And your head to your right and hold stretch. And then back and forth. And then roll your chin, your chin, roll your chin. And then one more time, roll your chin. Look forward and look up. Look down. And go around. 1, 2, 3. Other way. 1, 2, and 3. Good. Okay. So I might as well actually just follow up with this for a second because it's an important concept and I might as well introduce it to some degree before we jump into the form. I didn't really mean to stumble into this, but you see these things everywhere when you start to pay attention to them. So this is an extension. This is a contraction, you could say, or pulling in. This is halfway. There are 3 main distances from the body that you can interact with. You can interact close if you have to, and it's probably not ideal. And you can interact at a distance if you have to again. But this is generally, the middle is generally where the most usage is, or the most dexterous usage, I guess, is going to be. And this is really important because if I'm defending myself as a self-defense, I would like to connect to the attacker's limb as they throw their arm or leg at me at the extension point. I want to connect at an extension point and bring it to where I can control it in the middle. If somehow I'm caught and I'm saying close, then I want to take it from too close to the middle to control it, because this is where I'm going to have my strength most effectively expressed. So this class is doing quite well. Yeah. So there's the move in the second set. So you reach out and then you come back. That's what's going on. I'm trying to connect with the attacker at extension and then draw them into where I'm comfortable. And this happens again and again and again. That's just a really good example of it. And that is also representative of one more thing that we can just sort of see obviously, which is just the way the body is built. If this is the center and you started drawing concentric circles from here, look, there's a circle here, and then there's a circle here, and then there's a circle here, and I put my arms out, like you think of that Da Vinci drawing of the guy, the circle from the elbow is going to pass through the knees. So there's a relationship in the distance the elbow has from the center and the knee has from the center. And then the same thing at the wrist to the ankle. And you see this again and again and again in the form. That posture knows that ratio. It knows that this knee and this elbow is aligned, and that this wrist and this hip and this ankle is aligned. So that if I want to do something like and drop down, I know how to do that and stay balanced because the structure is held with integrity. So that's you can see it's an interesting idea. So we're going to practice the form. I always encourage people to think about that in practice as the elbow and the knee having a relationship. So you start to do moves here. The knee and the elbow have a relationship. You can see it's consistent, right? It's always there. So think about that. We'll do the first set. We'll do the second set. We've done the first set a lot. We'll do the second set. So from here, breathe in. And then turn. Push away. Feel the balance. Feel this control through all the joints that connect your body from the ground to your hands. Keep the back straight. Step back. And up. 1, 2, and now pull back and set. Balanced, and then step. Balance, and then step. And again, balance, and then step. Now the foot and hand turn together. The weight comes forward, the knees align. The right hand swings around as the left foot steps back, and you block, and then you block, and then you reach in. And now pick up the left foot with both hands. Bring the left knee up to a high point with both hands. Bring it back down with both hands, stepping back. and then rooting, sinking low. Turn, block the knife, keep it away, strike the throat. Make sure that your positioning is correct. Turn. 1, 2. Now strike the temple. Cup air into the ear. Clear and strong stance, right hand over top of left, pushing forward. Now, push down as you step forward with your right. Come up with the right as you step forward with the left to the corner. Root, put your left hand on top of your right forearm. Step out with your left foot and circle. 1 at the solar plexus, 2 between the knees, there's the knees again, and then the ankles, to the ankles. And then come up, push in, clear, and then a hook punch. Now from here, pivot on the front of your left foot to the side, bring your right foot in, and then drop down the back fist. 2, foot up, balanced, and then kick. Balanced, and then step. Hands together, turn, sink down, open the right hand. Counterclockwise, 1, 2, 3. Come up and push to the corner. Catch a sparrow by the tail. And now look to the corner. Deflect the first punch. Deflect the second punch. And then apply single whip. Expand through the room. Step back, left foot comes back, left hand blocks a kick. And then the hands go from top to bottom, and then they step across. Cloud hands, 1. Feet together. And that is 1. Now 2. And then a third one. And on the third one, when the feet come together, as the hands come across, you begin single whip out to the side and expand again, but this time to the side. And then we were just talking about this. I'm going to reach out. So then I'm going to shift back. And then I'm going to bring my left foot forward so I can hit very powerfully with my right hand. My right hand's going to do a big circle. And then the left hand's going to catch up at the bottom, bring up the right foot, and push it forward. And then it's going to come back up, palms up. I'm going to step to the corner on my right and strike with my left hand. Then my left hand does a big circle, and then my right hand catches up when I pick up the foot and push it away. Bring it back up. Now I use the weight of my foot in the air to turn 180 degrees, and then I put down my foot with 2 hands, and I bring it back up only with the left. Push it forward. I bring the foot back, but not the hand, and then I step, and I push, and then I brush my knee with my left, step, and then I push, and then I brush my knee with my right, I step, but I poke with my left, and punch with my right. And then I deflect again, and then I do another hook punch. And again, I'm rotating on the front of my left foot, around and down. Hook punch again, scoop. Knee up, kick, knee up, hand up, step. 1, 2, 3. Now, the ending sequence. From here, pull back, big circle with both hands. Now the foot is connected to the hand. The hand is going to pick up the foot, and then it's going to push it away. And then it's going to pick it back up. And then it's gonna push it down to the ground. The heel doesn't touch, but it comes very close. And then it's gonna pick it back up, palms come up. And then I'm gonna step down and across. My hands are gonna fall to my hips, close into two fists, swing my left or right foot back, lean back on my right, and then lean forward on my left as I do a double hook punch. Then I lean back on my right, my hands fall back to my hips. I turn and I'm doing a 180-degree turn. My weight comes back to my left and then forward to my right for the second double hook punch. From here, I bring my left foot to my right, I open my hands, I step to the corner, left foot forward and push. Then I do double circles. And again, my foot and my hand are connected. I pick up my foot, I push it away. I pick it back up, I bring the heel just barely above the top of the ground, and then I bring it back up. And then I step across, my hands fall back to my hips, my left foot swings back, my weight goes to my left, and then I do a double strike, equal height here. I bring my weight back to my left, I turn to the side, and I push forward, and then I do a double circle with both hands again, and this time a fast kick with my left. I put the left foot down, I turn 180 degrees, I sink into cat stance, both hands do a circle. Then I pick up my foot, I push forward, and I bring the foot back up, I bring the foot back down. And then I bring up my left hand to protect my face. And then my right hand scoops and brings up the right foot and kicks. And now this is all the same as you've done before. Push, poke, punch, draw back, part the arms, push away. Look to the front and carry the tiger to the mountain. And always take a moment when you carry the tiger to the mountain to enjoy that moment, to feel the strength of it. And if you want to finish, one of the finishes you can do here is to push back down. And then you're like going back to normal state of mind, so to speak. But of course, if you're doing the third set, you would just continue. And there's other finishes you could do. You can do more elaborate ones too. But any questions about that from either of you? I'm just working on it. Well, I can only ask who's here, but is that good enough for the second set? Do we need to keep looking at it? Do we want to go forward?
Either way.
Okay, that's very open-minded, and I appreciate that. Okay,
I feel that I haven't got it down pat yet, but picking away at it.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I agree with Bev. I'm still very confused on the second one. I can follow you, but if I have to try and do it on my own, it's dreadful. It's still very complicated. So if in class it looks so much easier though.
Yes. Okay. So like you go to see a great musician play. It looks easy, right? It looks easy. Like there's nothing going on there. I actually have this problem with the kids I teach quite often. There's always, like, if I get a group of say 10 kids, there's always one or two of them that are so hard on themselves about not being good at it immediately that they want to quit. And it bugs me with kids particularly because you're like, but you're a kid. All you do is learn. That's the only thing you need to do. You don't need to be good at anything. Just learn. So be careful with that. Don't be hard on yourself about that. It's totally normal. I still feel like I'm only just kind of getting it. And I really mean that. Every time you get somewhere with it, you get a little, it's like, there's an old analogy, I didn't make it up, but the path, the Tao, whatever, the path of life, you travel and you see this mountain and you climb up to the top peak of the mountain and you feel like you've really accomplished something, but you realize that all you've done then is get to the foothill of the next mountain. And then you get to the top of that mountain and you go, oh, it's just the foothill of the next mountain. And it just goes on and on and on and on. So the reason I say that is just keep practicing it. No, and don't judge yourself how good or bad you're doing. I can help you refine your technique, but if you don't develop it, then there's nothing for me to work with. So you have to have something, and then we can refine it. And my teacher, I haven't trained with him for a year, which is the first time in my adult life that I haven't trained with him this long. But you know, I can go train with him and he still goes, oh, basic stance wrong, basic position of your hand wrong, to me still. So don't feel bad. Anyway, I have to make a decision. I will stay focused on the second set for a little bit longer, and then we'll move on to the third set, maybe in a couple of weeks, we'll see.
Okay.
Let's look at some parts of it. And use these examples to help clarify all of the techniques, because how you do anything is how you do everything. The one I want to look at actually is eagle spreads and swings. So if we're doing the form and I was here, I would have done this posture here like this, right? Because we block the knife strike. And then you turn to the left to do eagle spread and swing. So I want to do that facing the camera, and I want to get a couple things to align. So my weight's forward on my right foot. It comes back to my left so that my right foot can turn in the direction I'm going to go. So if that was here, it would be like this. The right foot comes up. It turns in the direction I want to go. And then my weight shifts and my left foot comes across the cat stance. So there's a very important dynamic of this swing. See how that happens? Okay, can you see my feet now? So here, just with the feet, we'll start with that. So your weight has just come forward onto your right. Okay, it's just come forward onto your right. Your weight goes back to your left. The toes of the right foot come up and they turn to the left side. And then when they put down, you shift your weight to the right foot and pull your left foot to cat stance. Okay? So that's the feet. Now, from here, you want your left leg and your left hand to synchronize. So this is why I want to face the camera so you can see this. My hand's here. I come back onto my left, and turning onto the side naturally pushes my left hand out there, and that is a block, right? I'm clearing across my head. Okay, it's just by turning my waist. And now I'm going to rotate my hand here at the bottom, just above the knee, and come up as I shift into cat stance, so that as my cat stance sets, my left hand is going to come across my face. So see the dynamic there? I'm here, I turn and I block across here, and then I come up and I settle as the hand comes back down to where it started, right? So just watch to see if you can watch this. So I'm here and I turn. This spot right here in space is where my left hand will come back to after it goes there now. You see? It just came back to that same spot. So try that together here. 1, 2, and it comes back to that spot. And you're settled in your cat stance. Okay? So this is the connection from the elbow to the knee and the wrist to the ankle, as you see it happening there. So I could do a lot of techniques just with this concept in mind. Now, the second thing is this, you have a center line. So I'm here and I'm clearing to the outer edge of my body and coming up and going across my center line and down and back to that outer edge of my body. Okay, cross the center line and down. That's important because the center line is the nexus from which all of the movements ultimately emerge in many ways. And that also means that a lot of times you bring your hands to the center line equally, and then they come apart, and then they come back to the center line equally. Okay, so if we do all the things we just did with the left hand in stance, so I come here and I turn, my right hand, which was right here, is coming over to the side of my throat here as this one comes up, and it's just sort of hanging out right there. And you can see that it's across the center line, right? It just comes in, it goes across the center line as this one comes up. Then this is going to come down, and as this one comes down, this one comes up, and you see the alignment is right here, right at the throat, at the center, the palms cross each other. And then one goes down and out to posture, and the other one comes back and up to posture here. Okay? So let's do it again. Left hand does a big movement, right hand does a small movement that crosses there, and then you go into the posture here. Okay? Now, this is important. See how my elbow is fully back behind me and up? It's not out like this or anything. And then this one's down like this. There's a Trottier technique I was teaching yesterday that looks like this. So the posture is here. It's a more sort of intense sort of version of the same posture. This dynamic of back and forward at the same time. And it actually comes back to Tai Chi sword. There. Tai Chi sword has a lot of this kind of movement. Right? And that's what's going on here is you're swinging these blades around. Anyway, so you can see a lot of detail going on, just setting this up. Am I paying attention to the center, paying attention to the way the hips turn? And this is only the setup of the technique, right? We haven't actually done the strikes yet. So if we go back to here, and I come back, and I turn, and I raise my hand up, and then I settle as it comes down, and my right hand rises as this one comes down. And then I go into posture. This pulling back here, like this, sets the weight on my back hip. And that's my right hip. And then my right hip can fold forward. And you know, we were like using the hip and the elbow to warm up with? It's the hip that draws the elbow, that turns the hand and makes that very advanced fist shape and comes around and causes that strike to come out through a whipping motion this way. So it's very important. Here's that center point that my hands crossed at. There, they go away from it, and then it comes back to it. That's very important. It's coming back to this spot again and again and again. Okay? So from here, come back, up. And then as you settle into posture, feel the pull on the right shoulder and hip that wants to make you go back forward. And then the elbow gets thrown forward. The elbow throws the hand like a whip. But that pushes your weight too far this way, well, not too far, but as far this way as it can. You have to then turn your hips back. So as you turn your hips back, you reach out with the left, and lo and behold, it's going to go through that same space. It's coming up to cup the ear, and then it comes through that space to there. So again, crossed here, there, there. It's all coming back to there. So again, from here, turn. And now feel the pull in the body. And throw the elbow and the hand as an afterthought. And now reach out and cup in slightly at the end. And now from here, you're going to push down with your left foot stepping forward like this. But what matters here is that you don't do this. It's not the weight shifting all the way to the front foot. What you're doing is you're putting your weight forward like this, and then as the strike occurs, that's when the weight comes forward from the back leg with the right hand. So this hand's just setting it up, almost doing this. It just kind of stops halfway. And then this comes through, and then the weight, boom, you're hitting with your belly. Boom, right there. Okay? So from here, come back and begin two hands moving. One is bigger movement. They cross at the center. The position pulls the hip back like an elastic band, which then demands to be thrown forward. And then it goes back. And then the left foot goes forward but doesn't commit weight. And then the right foot or the right hand comes over and hits, and the weight does commit at that point. Okay? So there you go. That's one movement. A lot of details explained, but you can basically take all those details and apply them to every other movement. Where's your center? Where's the weight on the hip? How is the transfer coming from the hip to the shoulder to the hand? And anything else you notice. I don't want to explain, but that idea, okay? So any questions about that movement?
Thank you. That's really good detail. That helps a lot. Thank you.
This is the process, but I appreciate that you liked it. That's great. Now let's look at a move from the end of the form. I think we have lots of time, right? No, a little bit of time. But at the end of the form, that's that really complicated stuff, and we'll go through the details of that. And hopefully, it'll make a little more sense too. But the main details I want to think about, actually, I'll point out. Here's my center, and from the center, outward goes the movement. Outward goes the movement. That structure, because we have two legs, bipedal animals, very uniquely, isn't all that stable. Like an animal on 4 legs is very stable, but we're on 2 legs, not as stable. So they would teach, and actually it's a good idea to think about this, is a pyramid shape. The body is like a pyramidal shape, or a triangle if you want to get real simple. Here, there's a base, and then the point of the triangle is sort of just above the back of the top of the head. And so as you move, you want to keep that alignment very clear. I'm only clearing to the outside. I'm never going to go like way out here. And I'm always coming back to the center point to shape the space around me this way. That's the thought. Okay. So the end of the second set, let's do this movement. The second leg up and down sequence. So if we're doing the form facing this way, I'm going to go 90 degrees to my left, and I'm going to bring my left foot in front. So I'm to my left from the beginning of the form, left foot in front, hands up to here. Okay? Now, this movement obviously is an extension from the center up and out to the front. This is your basic position to block your head. Anything that's trying to attack you from the neck up, you come up and you block this way is one of these default ways to do that. So it could be from either side, it could be any kind of grab or punch or whatever you're just clearing. But now what matters here is that you have this concept of the connection from the elbow to the hip. So when I come back, it's my elbows being pulled back. Okay, my elbows get pulled back. Sorry. Let me take a step back. I'm here. My weight's been pushed forward on my left foot. That needed to be established. Now it's on the left foot. It's going to stay on the left foot. I'm pulling my elbows down, but my right knee is coming up. So my right knee comes forward, and now the knee should rise the moment the hands turn in. And then from here, it's like strings that you're attached to your feet. You pick up your knee and you bring it up to this high point here where you can put a cup of tea on the knee. And now I'm going to connect in my mind my bottom of my foot and my palms. And I push them both together without moving my elbows. And then I bring it back up. And then I push my foot down, my heel down, my toes up, and I'm holding my balance the whole time. And then I bring my foot back up, my palms come up. And now I step across with my right foot, my knees align, my hands fall, and then they close here. I want to freeze right there because there's a lot to unpack here. So if I'm facing the camera again and I do this, when I go down like this, and I cross my feet here, the hips fall, look at my stance right there. Okay, it's a very dynamic stance. You can see the twisting of the body and the positioning here and the hands here. There's still a straight alignment of my spine. So no matter where I go, this alignment down here is still going straight into the ground. It's just that it's now kind of curved around like a vine, that center point. And this is, if you guys remember, I think you remember I had a plant in the corner here in the last summer, or last fall. And that's why I grow that plant, is it crawls around the bamboo in a spiral. It's a brilliant thing to look at. And that's what's happening here, is you're crawling around that spot. So now my center is here, and what I need to do, let's just focus in on this part. So put your right foot up, palms up like this. Right foot comes across, and then the weight comes down and the hands fall to here and they make 2 fists. Now you're aware of your center. You're aware of your weight to either corner of the outside down here. Now, what you need to do is you need to get your left foot to swing this way. And if you look at this stance, my two toes, my big toes, make a diagonal line here. My left foot's gonna swing back to that line here. So I'm going from on the diagonal line on this side of the foot to this side of the foot, and then my weight shifts back. My hands haven't moved at that point. So again, if I'm here, my foot swings around and my weight shifts back. And then my weight comes forward. Now, does that make sense? What we just did, the way we stepped? Following it? Okay. So think of that vine. Now, the vine is not going to grow in a straight line. So when I shift around and I come up to do my strike, it looks like I'm moving in a straight line, but I'm not. I'm actually rolling around this way. There's a dynamic here like this. And if I had a student here who could show you, I'd have him just punch at me with a straight arm, and you wrap around the arm with your body. But here's the punch. If I move in a straight line, I just walk into it. But if I wrap around it, I can climb around it with my whole body. There's actually techniques where you can take somebody and you can grab their hand and you put their palm on your stomach, and then you can control them through your connection through your stomach. It's kind of hard to explain. And they're usually, but anyways, the idea is this vine is wrapping around. It's not a straight line in. Okay, so here, one, drop, swing the leg, align, and then like a vine, sort of wind in to that next strike here. Okay, try that a couple times, and then how are we doing? Yeah. That looked pretty good. Looks like the right idea. Now, so now, sometimes it helps to slow things down. Sometimes it helps to make things go faster. It's all to do with just how your brain programs these muscle memories. So now this one, I want you to try to do a little faster. So we're here, and I want you to go, okay? Just a little bit more speed as the turn happens, and then the forward part, okay? Play with that. Yeah, so you can see you have to go one way and then the other way. You have to shift your weight forward and back very quickly. Yeah, good. This is an important thing. It's a wave, right? It's a wave. The wave has to be able to go like this, and it's happening constantly. So if we attach that idea to a little bit more of that part of the form, we put it together a little bit more, there's a wave constantly happening here. Wave number one, out, up, down, up, wave down, wave back, wave in, forward, wave out, turn, wave up, wave out, wave down, and then continue forward. It's this internally, constantly going and going. So let's do that whole sequence now, maybe a little faster than you have, and don't worry about the details, get them right, but just think of a wave, a constant in and out of a wave, like pounding on the shore, okay? So we're starting from the left foot forward, the beginning of that whole sequence, okay? Left foot forward, hands here. I won't go too fast. One. Wave up, wave out, up, down, swing, the wave comes back, the wave comes in. The wave comes back, the wave turns and goes out again. And then you step, and the wave, big wave builds up, and it comes out, and it comes back up, and it comes down. And then it comes out, and you step, you swing back, and then the wave comes back in. And then the wave comes back, and then the wave goes in. And then a strong wave comes up. And you turn, and another big wave hits you immediately, and you come up, and you come out, and then it starts to relax a little bit, and then you go back to a path you've already walked. You see? So that kind of makes sense, that flow of that. So this is a crescendo in a sense. So I'm a musician, I always think of music. My favorite parts of many songs are these intense moments where the music builds and it just goes, rings out, and then it kind of comes to an end usually or something. that's what that moment is. That whole sequence is a big crescendoing moment. The energy is just, and then you finish and you come back to something you know, and then you come back to center. And there's a reason for that. The form wants you to have a journey in which there's higher and lower intensities throughout the path. So when you start to practice the whole thing now and you're putting it more and more together, and as we said, there's no wrong, just do it, just do it, just do it. Pay attention to those kinds of dynamics too. Like I would say, this sequence is very centering for me. Whenever it comes up, everything goes back to center, right? And then big movements all around, and then you find that movement again, you go back to center. So there's no right or wrong, but that thought of how does that express itself in the form is a good one. And then that will do it for today. Any final questions? Okay, I see smiles. Thank you guys for your time and discipline in keeping up with this. I appreciate it. So we'll see you next week.